Now let's move to lesson number 4, which is the last lesson for the first chapter or part 1 of marketing research. Lesson 4 is about qualitative research. Qualitative research explores the why and how behind human behavior and experiences, focusing on in depth understanding rather than numerical measurement. It involves collecting and analyzing non numerical data like interviews, observations, and text to uncover patterns, themes, and insights about a phenomenon, event, or action. Unlike quantitative research, it doesn't aim to quantify how much of something exists, but rather to delve into the underlying purposes, motivations, and preferences. Let's move to the approaches to qualitative research. Grounded theory is a qualitative research approach where you develop theories from the data itself rather than starting with a pre existing theory. You collect and analyze data, identifying patterns and themes, and use those patterns to build a new theory that is grounded in the data. It's an inductive approach, meaning you move from a specific observations to broader generalizations. This contrasts with traditional research, where you start with hypotheses and tests uh, using the data that you're going to collect. Ethnography is a qualitative research approach where researchers immerse themselves in a particular group, organization, or culture to understand a specific aspect of their lives from an insider's perspective. The goal is to gain deep understanding of the group's behaviors, beliefs, and social structures within their natural context. Ethnographers not only seek to understand the group, but also to effectively communicate their insights to others. Action research is a qualitative approach focused on solving practical problems in a specific context. It's not just about understanding a phenomenon, but about taking action to improve a situation based on that understanding. This involves a collaborative process where researchers and participants work together to identify a problem, implement a solution, and evaluate its effectiveness. The key difference from other research approaches is that the emphasis on praxis, the cyclical process of reflection, action, and evaluation. Phenomenological research explores the essence of a lived experience or phenomenon by describing it from the perspective of those who have experienced it. The goal is to understand the shared meaning and significance of the experience for the individuals involved. Unlike ethnography, phenomenological researchers do not immerse themselves in the group's culture, but rather focus on gathering in depth accounts of individuals' experiences to identify common themes and patterns. Narrative research explores how people create meaning through stories and narratives. It examines how individuals understand and interpret their experiences and how these stories shape their identities and perspectives. This approach often focuses on understanding how stories, culture, and traditions are transmitted and interpreted across generations. In historical context, narrative research can provide valuable insights into the personal impact of events, enriching the broader understanding of history beyond mainstream accounts. In marketing research, a focus group discussion, or FGD, involves bringing together a small group of carefully selected participants to discuss a specific topic or product. It's a qualitative research method because the data gathered is in the form of opinions, insights, and experiences rather than numerical measurements. The goal is to gain a deeper understanding of consumer perceptions, attitudes, and motivations through guided group interactions. Examples of heterogeneous and homogeneous FGDs. Heterogeneous FGD. A company wants to understand the appeal of a new snack food, so they assemble a group with diverse ages, genders, income levels, and dietary preferences. For example, vegans, meat eaters, people with allergies, so they can gather a wide range of perspectives. While homogeneous FGD, a hospital wants to improve the experience of first time mothers. So they conduct a focus group exclusively with women who have recently given birth for the first time to explore their unique challenges and experiences. The composition of participants depends on the research questions. Homogeneous groups allow for more focused discussions, whereas heterogeneous groups can stimulate diverse perspectives. In depth interviews are a qualitative research method that involves a one on one conversation between a researcher and a participant. The aim is to gather rich and detailed information about a specific topic. It goes beyond simply collecting facts, allowing the researcher to explore the participants' behaviors, emotions, and attitudes, providing a deeper understanding of their perspectives and experiences. Data processing and analysis. When analyzing data, we should first take note of where the data is sourced. As we have discussed in previous lessons, qualitative data may be sourced from interviews, surveys, documents, and audio-video recordings, among others. When analyzing qualitative data, the initial step is to organize and prepare the non-numerical information you've gathered. A common method is transcription, which involves converting audio or video recordings into written text. So once transcribed, the data needs to be coded. Coding involves categorization of the data by assigning labels or codes to specific words, phrases, or segments that reflect key themes, concepts, or ideas found within the responses. This classification helps to identify patterns and relationships in the data. Content analysis is a qualitative data analysis technique that involves systematically examining text or other forms of communication to identify patterns, themes, and meanings. In marketing research, this typically involves analyzing responses from interviews, focus groups, or open ended survey questions. We group similar answers and viewpoints into common themes and concepts. We can gain insights into the dominant opinion, attitudes, and preferences of our respondents. This is particularly useful for understanding the overall sentiment or key messages conveyed by the data. Narrative analysis is a qualitative approach that focuses on interpreting the stories, cultural backgrounds, and traditions of individuals or groups. In marketing research, this method is used to understand how cultural or generational narratives influence consumer preferences, purchasing behaviors, and brand perceptions. We examine the stories people tell and the cultural context in which they are embedded. The marketers can gain information and insights into the deeper meanings and values that drive consumer choices. Thematic analysis is a qualitative data analysis technique used to identify, analyze, and interpret patterns of meaning or themes within a data set. It involves a thorough reading of the data, for example, interview transcripts, focus group notes, to identify recurring ideas, concepts, or patterns of behavior. The goal is to go beyond the surface levels of the data and uncover the underlying meanings and significance of the themes, providing a deeper understanding of the phenomenon being studied. Grounded theory uses a bottom up approach to data analysis. You start with the raw data, for example, interview transcripts or observations, and then through a process of coding and analysis, gradually identify patterns, concepts, and relationships. So these patterns then lead to the development of a new theory that is grounded in the data itself. Unlike other research methods, you don't begin with a pre existing hypothesis or theory to test. Instead, the theory emerges from the data analysis. Lesson activities, practice exercises in the textbook, uh, answer the question comprehensively in class. As part of your company's ongoing marketing strategic preparations, you have been asked to interview industry leaders regarding your plan for expansion. Your company produces tomato ketchup packets for the restaurants. You're going to interview Mr. Juan de la Cruz, the operations manager of Ristorante Italiano. Develop an interview schedule that may yield the type of information that you require. In conclusion, number one, qualitative research methods are used in processing and analyzing non numerical data. Qualitative research has its own set of approaches and methods. Some of the approaches include grounded theory, ethnography, action research, phenomenological research, and narrative research. Number two, on the other hand, the methods of qualitative research include observations, interviews, surveys, and secondary research. Because the answers to these methods are open ended and open to interpretation, one must be careful in how the data is interpreted and analyzed. Three, a focus group discussion or FGD is composed of people who come together and discuss a specific topic. FGDs are led by a moderator. There are advantages and disadvantages to conducting an FGD. 4. An in depth interview is a method of collecting information where the researcher asks intensive questions to explore an individual's point of view on a phenomenon, an idea, or situation. Interviews should be flexible, probing, and generative in order to collect the necessary data for the research. 5. Last, the processing and analysis of data are governed by structure. This would include different methods of analyzing qualitative data. There are advantages and disadvantages to using qualitative data. Our reference for today's lecture is the book Marketing Research by Abantao, Benelin Joan V., published in 2023 by Rex Bookstore Incorporated. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.